And then I'll know where to go.
Kind of cool to see one live. This is pretty cool.
Yeah.
Like even you're standing here.
Yeah! Well, welcome back to a scorching episode of I Lather Be Shaving.
Yeah, that's my line.
Well, I had to do it for you.
No, you did. I'm Douglas Smythe from FreeShaving.com, and to my right is... Why am I sitting on the other
Why are you sitting on the right? Well, because the chair over there is higher up.
No, he wants the better mic, is what I'm saying. Anyways, folks, welcome back. It's been a couple of years since Matt and I have actually sat next to each other like this. And sitting next to each other, we shall do again.
My palms are so sweaty right now. So nervous.
I'm so excited. I'm sending Matt big pictures all day. Anyways, here we are. And we've got a lot to cover. We've got about 2 years worth of material to cover.
We're going to squeeze it into 20 scorching minutes.
20 scorching minutes. So I apologize ahead of time for that. But now we have some people in the group right there. You see that?
That's right. We're on Facebook Live, everyone. If you're on Facebook, say hi.
In fact, if
on Facebook.
any smokers in the room want to go outside, just tune in on Facebook. Anyways.
Is that in the Phoenix app or the...
First, look at that.
No, really.
It got very meta when Ken Sir started filming us. Anyways, so we are going to cover, first and foremost, as we have always done, and the closer it gets to the tinnier our sound.
Well, it's okay.
Ground control to major. No. First, we're going to cover a vintage aftershave as we've done in the past. And this one, we actually, a lot of the stuff we're covering today is stuff we wanted to do back in the day, 2 years ago.
Got written down.
Our final episode, we wanted to cover a lot of these things that we're going to cover today. So it just feels like we're
Finally here.
Finally here. We've arrived.
I mean, Douglas has spent the last year traveling the world and seeing exotic places and gathering all this knowledge. He's got the safari hat on as usual. He's been on adventures, high and low.
Yes, and so now being low, I would like to share what I've learned while high with you. I don't know if that came out right. Anyways, guys, the first vintage aftershave that I'd like to talk about today that is, well, I don't know how, do you know this? Before I told you about this?
No, I never heard about this. We went outside like an hour before the event started. He's like, have you ever heard of something called wood hue?
Yeah.
And I said, wood
Are we going to put a hat
hue?
on too?
No. He said this was like the famous thing that Cary Grant.
Well, yeah, I mean, Cary Grant was into as well, but Dean Martin.
Dean Martin.
This is
Mine
the
would have been
scent
just
he
like
wore
that.
during his life.
If you want to know what Dean Martin smelled like, you gotta smell wood hue. It doesn't get any better than this. Seriously. We just got a little scotch underneath it, and we'll really get into some cigarette smoke. We'll know that what Dean Martin smelled like.
Yeah, I don't know if we'll ever really know what Dean Martin smelled like, but
No,
no,
we
honestly,
want to.
perfectly frank, not Sinatra, but what he was doing with hue, which was a little different, and it maybe dates back to the Depression, is he was splashing it on while he was still wet out of the shower. I don't know if the water diluted it; it just wore differently on him rather than concentrated as we wear it today. But I think that comes out of just being born up or raised up during the Depression. They were just watering stuff down.
May I? Or is it holier than thou?
No, this is a vintage bottle. So, yes, let's go back to the origins. 1938 is what Wood Hue is coming out of. Wood Hue by Faberge, which is also the makers of Root as well, so it may be familiar to you as a brand. But it really is.
Woo!
I know my first
We should pass this around. We're not just live on Facebook.
First aftershave ever.
Perfect on that. But
I probably still have it somewhere.
really classic, really fresh, spicy, lavender, bergamot, basil are top notes.
That's really nice.
Geranium, carnation is the middle notes. Vanilla, vetiver, sandalwood, and cedar are the base notes. But yeah, it's an oriental fragrance, oriental woody fragrance. So it's very woody, spicy, and classic. And again, this was Dean Martin's the only thing he ever wore. And him and Cary Grant both actually were invested in this company at the time. I don't know if that's the reason why he wore it all the time.
I'm not like Mr. Aftershave like Doug is, but this is phenomenal. This is like, I want to smell like this all the time too.
And another fun fact about this is it was discontinued in 1986 when Cary Grant died. So there's that. Which I think is kind of, I would have expected it to be discontinued when Dean Martin died, but...
So it not only is it unique, but it kind of is like a fragrant, what do you call it, artifact of yesteryear.
It really
Here we
is.
are.
And smelling down the bottle, really, you have to experience it during dry down too. During the dry down, it goes from like
Final dry
Here's what he's
down.
talking
it goes from like amber to a creamy
It's
vanilla,
wonderful.
cedar, eventually landing on vetiver.
We should have blindfolded him for this because this is the Douglas Smythe nose in action.
No. But woody, dry, bitter, and sweet.
Ooh, tell
Really,
me
it's
more.
magical stuff. I mean, yeah, nothing beats it. So
It teases your nose.
Oh, one thing to note though, if you are going to find the vintage on eBay or anywhere else online, there's a woman's version that's still sold today, totally different scent, very similar looking bottle. However, the men's has the space. So if you're looking for the
Okay.
vintage, this one has the space too, but it's can be confused for the new one. So look for this bottle right
Now,
here.
Douglas, is that real wood on top?
This is real wood, which is very eco-friendly.
Oh, that's probably
Yeah, we're
part
all
of the smell.
we're returning back to this where they once were. But yeah, this particular bottle, is probably from the 80s, actually, the early 80s. But again,
So
it was
39 to 86.
38 to 86.
38 to 86.
Yeah.
Okay.
Very classic scent. Very still modern actually. Very masculine. Very it's just all around great Oriental woody scent. So that is our aftershave of the week. Moving on. What do we have next, Matt?
Well,
These are our notes.
yeah, these are notes. We'll be completely honest. This was something we didn't even know if it was going to happen. You know, there was a lot of debate if we had a PA system, if we were both going to be here,
If my mic would work.
if this microphone worked. So we kind of, we had the idea,
We always do.
a long time ago we talked about DOP kits.
A couple times.
How many people traveled here today from somewhere else, other than California? Are we the
All
only two Arizona
Californians.
schmucks here?
No, there's one more Arizona schmuck.
Yeah, I know, right? So Douglas and I each have a DOP bag because shaving. And, we were like, you know what, let's do everyone can relate to this because everyone has to go on a trip sometime, has to go somewhere. And as a wet shaver, you're always wondering, what should I pack? What are good things to bring? What are bad things to bring? Because I know for personal experience, if you bring the wrong thing, you can end up with it all over your bag. And that's
Or
kind of like,
scars.
yes.
Scars.
So we thought of some tips and tricks. We thought the very first thing is what not to pack. And I would say the very first point of what not to pack is glass. So if you're traveling and you're going to bring, Cary Grant's aftershave, make sure to...
Dean Martin.
Yeah, well, both, right?
Yeah, but it's more Dean
More
Martin.
Dean Martin, okay. Dean Martin's aftershave. Make sure that you do not bring a glass jar because the last thing you want to do is arrive on your wonderful destination and you opened up your DOP bag and there's nothing in it
But broken glass.
broken glass and broken dreams. And a sad fragrance, and you're now sniffing your bag saying, oh, Dean Martin, this is just what you smelled like. You don't want that. So
No one wants that.
No.
So there's that. So what I recommend you do, and what you probably already know to do, is transfer it from the bottle into a little tiny atomizer bottle.
Yes.
Or actually, you go to a camping store. There we go.
Oh, Ian with the save.
Product placement. This happens to be a Phoenix
Ding,
Shade
so shady.
atomizer. But yeah, this or any other one out there is great to transfer this to. It's small. It's strong. I mean, it is glass inside this case though, so
It's
it's protected.
plastic wrap.
It's protected.
Yeah.
But you can also transfer it to little camping travel containers as well. So they make those, and something to consider. And that goes for shaving soap as well. If you're using a cream rather than using a small cream tube, you can get even smaller with a camping one. So you just have to transpose it from one container into the next. But that travels really well. And that said, no matter what you're using, all of them, and I sound like the TSA here, should be in a little Ziploc bag.
Use a bag, people.
Yeah, whenever you're traveling in your suitcase.
Maybe even double bag.
Yeah, definitely double bag. Because when they're throwing your suitcases around.
Oh, and air pressure, right? You go on the airplane, you're at 5,000 feet, things expand, you got to put it in a Ziploc bag.
Yeah. So, I mean, I've run into that even with my dog kit. It smells of all types of unique things because I failed to do that. But yeah, definitely use a Ziploc bag. And definitely get it as small as you possibly can with these things. You don't need to bring your entire soap with you.
Yes, you don't. Another great tip is if you get the samples, which there are a ton of samples on the PIV table, please pick them up.
There's a PIV table?
There's a PIV table right there, I can see it. Look,
You're
you
missing
walk
out
right
on the
by.
PIV table.
Oh, PIV table. Yeah. If you get a soap sample from one of the wonderful artisan vendors out there, don't use it at home. Use that as your opportunity to take on the road with you. Bring the tiny little one or another small container. I brought one that's from our meetup back in February. It's just a small tin of soap. But this is a perfect size. I've used this I used it for 2 weeks in Colorado. I used it now this trip. Perfect size, small, something portable.
Travels well.
Yeah.
I'm gonna bust up. Oh, yeah, it's tin. So yeah, it's perfect. I've seen shampoo pucks also in your recent containers, but lovely. He's right.
Yeah. So don't bring your giant tub because even if you're gone for, let's say you have a crazy trip, it's a month long. You're not going to need to go through an entire 4 ounces of shaving soap for a travel. Just bring something small.
Though I know a lot of you want to do shaves of the day on the beach and whatnot, so there's that. Ken, I'm looking at you.
There you are.
I'm not looking at you.
Nice.
All you white guys look the same to me. Anyways, here we are.
But even your brush. So what? I'm a big fan of the travel brushes. This is actually an OG King R Emporium. Shaving sticks work great too.
We always get back to the shaving sticks.
Yeah, shaving sticks. Arco makes one. I know you guys have some. But any shaving sticks are great. They take up less room.
They travel really well as well. It comes down to it. You don't feel bad if you destroy it in travels because they're more affordable.
But Douglas, how do you use a shaving stick?
Well, there's a few schools of thought when it comes to that. I mean, you can apply it directly, write it and apply it directly against the grain. You know, you really do want to apply it against the grain so pieces of it are picked up by the grain, so they're like hiding under the hair, maybe happening at a microscopic level. Here's another one. But then when you hit with the brush, now you're hitting those little pockets of soap and it explodes on your face in a good way. So there's that. You can also apply it directly to the knot of the brush you're using. Again, it's got to be wet first.
Yes.
You can bloom shave soap as well. I don't recommend dipping it in a mug or a hot mug of water. I do, but in a Ziploc bag, just to keep the water off it first, really boost the scent, and then just wet it. And with that, apply it to the knot, or again, against your face, against the hairs on your face. Immediately after the shower, I find works the best. It almost melts into your face as you're using it. But that's how I use the shave stick.
Do you have a travel brush with you?
I do not.
Do you use a full size?
No, actually, I just don't have it with me at the hotel. It was wet. That's another thing with shaving brushes.
Yes.
You want to use, I think, the best ones to use travel with are synthetic ones because you don't have to baby them.
That's true.
You don't have to worry if they're wet or dry when you're throwing them back into your bag. You really can abuse a synthetic brush. So those always travel better than animal hair brushes.
I found this vintage one years ago in some collection. There's a phone ringing. I found this little tiny opal pure badger brush in some collection from years ago. I held on to because it had a decent knot and it came with a little travel tube. It's pretty soft.
Yeah. Travels well.
Travels well, and then it has little perforations at the top. If you don't have one of these, tips and trick, you can make one out of like a pharmacy bottle, plastic container. You can poke some holes in the top.
Or tool parts.
Container. But something lets it breathe to air out. So like Douglas said, he couldn't bring his, but if you just have these, you can travel with it. Throw it in wet.
At the end of the day, though, I really did want to bring mine, but there's a reason why I left it on the sink. Is because it was still holding soap. And one of the things I want to talk about is Latherous.
What does latherous mean, Doug?
Good question. What it means is, and also if you're using a synthetic brush, it's okay to leave the soap and not rinse it out immediately after you're done shaving. Leave the soap in it for the night, and the next day you can actually rehydrate that and get another few passes out of it. Okay. So if you really want to make your soap, I know all of us here have about 50 soaps in our collections, but if you want to make your soap go a little bit further, especially if you're traveling maybe for a long period of time, not rinsing out your brush and rehydrating it and re-lathering it again, you'll be surprised how that comes right back to life. So I've been calling that Latherous.
I'm going to trademark that before you do.
I know, right? Someone out there is latherous.com. Anyway, so that's another tip, a little side note anyways, when it comes to the tops. So yeah, synthetic brushes travel better than hair. I think we can all agree on that.
Now what about a razor? What do you like? I mean, Gillette used to make a little 3-piece travel techs. They're tiny. What's your thoughts? Because I don't really care. This is one part I won't skimp on. I will put a full-size razor. I'm not going to put a small travel razor with a tiny little handle. But I'm also not backpacking on the Appalachian Trail where I'm counting every single ounce. I want my razor to be consistent and not, all of a sudden have a different shaving experience. So what about you?
Well, yeah, when it comes to counting ounces, when you're a serious hiker or whatnot, I would plan around, you kind of lot for different, how would you say that, extras, if you will, when you're taking weight into consideration. And one of them should be, well, always your feet first. You know, carry extra socks if you have to. Like, worry about things that you need to worry about while you're out there in the middle of nowhere. But oftentimes I will take the razor weight into consideration. I'm working around that. I'm cutting off straps and stuff like that, knowing that I got to save ounces, but carrying.
But for those of us not backpacking, if we're just going on a trip and we're going somewhere, do you pack a travel razor or are you packing a full size?
It really, if the spirit moves me, I'll pack a full size. But I mean, for the most part, I do think lighter. I'll think Bakelite or plastic D, something. You know, if I'm again, it's just something that I don't really want to have to baby or worry about. So a beater razor, I guess you could say. And another thing is that said though, don't put this aside and think that this is just for travel and you're only using it to travel. Before you travel, start using it a week beforehand so you're used to using it. Otherwise you have to cut and make you're just not used to it. So make sure you put the time in learning it before you take it on the road with you. And that goes for all of the different travel components too. Like practice with them before you hit the road with it, if that's important to you.
That's a good point.
I mean, if you're going to a conference, you want to look good, and you don't want to make yourself. I know oftentimes, especially when it comes to events like this, I'm in the hotel making myself left and right because I brought something with me last minute, and it's like I'm going to a shaving event and I look like this. So there's that practice.
Well, another point, and I made this recently. I did a live shave for my trip in Colorado. I'm not sure if anyone watches my videos or not, but if you can believe it, I went to Colorado for 2 whole weeks and I forgot an aftershave, so I had to go to a grocery store. And you got to know at least some options. They may not be desirable, they may be part of the enemy, but you have to at least know if you can pick up something locally. This has always been a go-to of mine. If I'm at almost any grocery store sells this Gillette aftershave balm, and it's a decent product. It's not an artisanal, wonderful quality. It does smell like deodorant, but damn it, it'll get the job done for you.
Yeah, no, I've done that too. I've actually gone on trips where I forgot deodorant and bought my own deodorant from a shop. You know, it's really, yeah, I'm that guy. You know, and this is the first, I need to say this too. This is the first time in our history of doing this that I might be taller than Matt.
Well, there's 2 different chairs over here, and we got him on the phone books today, guys.
Yeah. So notice this. My head might be cut off in that frame.
That's fine.
So moving on, and if you've seen our past travel shows and vids, you've seen me use a couple of dot kits. I've evolved over the years, and my recent favorite right now, that I need to point out, is this one. It's
actually, a roll-up.
It's an Osprey. It's if you're into
waterproof
and hiking, it's not necessarily waterproof. This rips up. But what makes this different than the typical leather classic ones that we're used to is it's got a lot of cool features in it. Like this little hook right here that's hiding is great for hooking on anything really. You're in a hostel, you're camping, it gets it out of the way and it puts everything right there in front of your face where you can see it and use it. It is water resistant and it could very well be waterproof, but I haven't noticed that. I haven't read anything about it. But yeah, I really enjoyed this on my last trip. And like a traditional dot kit, it does roll up, so you can definitely do it, and you can change how tight it is.
Now, what if you need a bigger hook than that, Doug? What if you need a giant hook?
Well, you see, a lot of the times, I've noticed this in hostels, especially across Europe, hooks are lacking for towels, for anything. In fact, a lot of times you'll bring this into the shower with you. I've actually hid credit cards in here as well. Now you all know. But an extra credit card in here when traveling, just because no one's going to grab your job kit. So it's a great place to store that. But what I do...
Yeah, I couldn't see us going over a shower bar very easily.
Now, I've hung this on all these light fixtures.
Okay.
But yeah, when it comes to stuff like that, hanging this, you might not have a place, I bring this. So this is another hook. If there's no hooks there, this you can hang on the shower door.
Double hook.
Also great for a strop.
Yeah, that's the first thing I said when I saw it.
But great, and a towel. But again, if you have limited space, if you're taking everything you own into the shower with you, like if you are stirring, when you stay in a hostel, you want to protect yourself, your valuables. You'll bring it on, so you need the more hooks, the merrier, really. So BYOH.
For when you need to hang around.
Very cheap. These double hooks, you can get them on like Amazon or even at a hardware store. But it's just a good hack, I think, when it comes to that. Another thing I like to keep in here is whenever you walk into the stores, the shaving stores or whatnot, they give us samples, sample aftershaves, sample shave creams, so on and so forth. don't use them right away. Put them in your job kit just as backups. Here's another one. Shampoo. Shampoo in the packet. So I mean, like, I always save these things just for the travel kit.
Good tips.
I don't use this stuff on my teeth. I use it for everything else.
We
So
can
yeah,
tell.
yeah, right. But floss. Now floss is a great, like, it's a multi-tool. So I mean, when you are using floss, it's also great for if something breaks or whatnot. You tie it together. I mean, just in a pinch, it goes a long way.
I know.
Another travel container, as we were talking about with soaps and whatnot. Transfer it from that into the smaller container. Boom.
Now, someone here in the audience, I won't say who it was asking me about traveling with a DE razor. How do you get the blade by security? I know I have some tips on that. Do you have any tips or tricks to get a blade by security?
Send it ahead. If you know you're staying at a hotel, send it.
Mail it ahead. It'll cost you a stamp. You can put it in an envelope. It'll be waiting at the desk for you.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if you do like an everyday carry type thing to a knife or something else you can't travel with, and you're only bringing a carry-on, always mail it ahead to the hotel you're staying at. I do want to point out that before we go any more into that, this also comes with a little mirror that's Velcro to that. So it's great for hiking, great for signaling a helicopter if you need to. But yeah, really cool job kit by Osprey. I highly recommend it. Not making any money off the sale, but yeah, it's not a sponsor, but great job kit. I'm sold on these right now.
Nice. But I would say DE traveling. I was telling somebody that, you know, if you go into the TSA and they find your razor, chances are they're going to say, "Oh, there must be a blade in here." Pull the blade out, and you're going to trick them because there's no blade in there. I don't got any blades, you know.
How do you trick?
Well, you got to put it somewhere else. So don't put it in your dop bag. First off,
The prison pocket?
Tuck it in a sock. I'm serious. Tuck it in a sock. Tuck it in your shoe.
And then try to make it. That looks so sketchy.
You know what?
They always pull me out of lines.
I've never been caught doing this.
I'm the guy.
I know you're the guy.
Frisking me down.
Yeah, you look like a terrorist.
It's the hat.
But another place, if you bring a laptop, take the laptop battery cover
I've been
off,
saying this for years. I don't know if this is true or not, but
or
yeah.
just tape it with masking tape inside the laptop. You know, you open the laptop, it's masking tape inside.
No, you know, good luck trying that, folks, when they find that.
Well,
I don't know how
don't
this
blame
happens.
me. I'm not liable if you get in trouble. But I'm just saying what's worked for me.
Anyways, yeah, it really, I think the best thing is always send it ahead, or
Just say.
know that in most pharmacies they are selling Persona DE blades, whatever the brand is.
Yes, know what's locally available.
If you see just the pharmacy brand there, and it's made in the U.S., it's highly it is definitely a Persona blade. So, again, before you leave, maybe actually start practicing with Persona blades before you leave, knowing that's probably what you're going to be using when you get there, because that's going to be the only thing available. Unless it's a place like this selling their blades.
There's no other place like Absolutely Fabulous.
We're sponsored. So yes, so there's that. Where are we in the?
Well, one of the
Trying to cram
we
everything.
didn't want to bore you guys, so we're kind of keeping it concise and clean. We wanted to mention also part of any of this. We want to throw a tip and trick and a hack for some of a stand. You can make your own stand if you are.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Brush stand.
Okay, we're moving pretty fast now. So,
Moving on. It's been 25 minutes.
folks, we're going to do a little bit of Mr. Wizard stuff over here. For the, you know, everyone seems to have a 3D printer nowadays. Everyone ran out and bought one when they were on sale. And a few know how to really use it, or they've used it once or twice. Sometimes it's a little more work than it needs to be. And so we have a 3D printing alternative.
You don't have to own a 3D printer.
You don't have to, I'm talking about
The low price, $9.99.
polymorphing plastics.
What did you say? Some scientific word?
I did. It's the biodegradable
Say it again. Polymorphic.
polymorphic. It's actually biodegradable too. So, and that's a type of polyester. I'm on a unidirectional mic, so if I talk over here, you can't hear me, but then you can hear me over here. You can't even hear him. So,
Sound like an ambulance.
I do. So polymorphic, you can find this on Amazon, or you can find it on any other site for the most part. But polymorphic plastic, it's moldable plastic, and it takes really about five minutes to really use.
Let's do it.
And also, aside from shaving, it's great to have in your toolkit. Literally your toolkit, because I've made like emergency washers for my hose, for anything. I mean, like, if you need a piece of something and you can't get to it, you can possibly mold it with your hands.
Can you eat it?
You cannot. Well, you probably could, but I don't recommend it. So what you need to do is you need to boil some water. I happen to have a teapot here, and
Is it boiled already?
it is.
You
I'm
pre-boiled
boiling
it.
it the entire time. It's been cutting into the PA.
Okay. Ooh, tips and tricks. Look, he's adding boiling water and a bunch of plastic balls. He's making some.
So this is where the fun begins. So we let that sit for about 5 minutes. Set your timer for 5 minutes.
Okay. Set.
Okay. Meanwhile, while we're letting that do its thing, let's move along to plastic dip. Plastic dip. You know what this is?
By the picture, I can tell that it's putting plastic through a dip onto whatever you want.
Using a dip. Okay, folks, this is a multi-purpose rubber coating plastic. Typically, or originally, I think, used to coat tools with. You know, to
Yeah.
give you more grip.
More
on
grip.
the tool. As in the picture here, they're using pliers. But there's so much more you can use with this as well, or use this for rather as well, which is pretty much coating razor.
Just a 1930 new deluxe in Gillette,
Nothing
Depression
important.
era.
Yeah.
You know.
What we're going to do is make it look better. Now, if you're a shower shaver especially, this is great because it gives the razor handle more grip. It also really works well with covering up like imperfections on a crappy handle. You know, so you can spend $6 on a vintage razor, and it
Don't
works.
send it to me.
Gets the job done. Send it to
Buy
me.
this right
Gets the
here.
job done, but you know the handle can be cracked. There can be a lot of problems with the handle. Visually, it's just not appealing. And what you can do is coat it in plastic dip. And that said, it goes beyond just the razor and extends to the shave den. This works great on faucet handles, if you really want to add a splash of color to your shave den. This could be something to consider. You can dip.
Ooh, that's got a nice odor to it. Oy day plastic?
Oy day brain dip. Okay, so you just dip that in.
He asked me to bring a junky razor, people. I didn't know I was going to come back with a plastic dipped handle.
Oh, you know what? What you should be doing first is make sure it's mixed properly.
I want to make sure their counter doesn't get plastic dipped here.
But this stuff is awesome. Again, yeah, you can use faucet handles, all sorts of stuff. I mean, it's really, once you use it once, what I find, you start looking around the house for other things to dip.
Put it on your steering wheel.
Steering wheel cover.
How long is the cure time on that? Like an hour?
It's like a day, actually.
Well, we'll come back tomorrow, guys.
Now what you do is you hit it. Now what can happen sometimes is you get little drips that come off of it,
This is part of the
that dry,
design.
and that's just something you can cut off after the fact, and then you can redip again if you want to make a fatter handle. But I mean, a lot of people like fat handles these days as opposed to back in the day. That's another reason why vintage razors is great to experiment with, because the handles were shorter and sometimes thinner. So if you're into fat handles and super grip,
That handle, girls!
this could be something that could interest you. But yeah, I didn't mix this pre-hand, so I'm mixing it now with the handle. This is not the way to do it. What you would do is mix it, shake it up, or use a chopstick, or whatever, and then dip it. That's what you get. And this is going to dry into a rubber coating, giving you better grip, and again, hiding any imperfections that are on that vintage handle. And if you want to someday maybe sell the razor or whatnot, this stuff peels right off. So you're not hurting it permanently. It's not permanent, unless you want it to be. So that's it.
You're gonna end up with a grippier handle, a bigger handle, and if you have some imperfections, it'll hide all that. It's a cheap solution. You'll end up plastic coating everything in your house.
Yeah, you really will. Like all your tools, and you'll find stuff.
And-
Knobs on the drawers. I'm not saying this because it's something I did, but I got in trouble for.
And if somebody doesn't like it, including yourself, you can peel it off.
Peel it right off. Yeah.
All right, that's acceptable.
Okay, so now can you pull this now from the head?
Yeah, I'll just hold it for the next day.
Okay, while he's doing that, I think our 5 minutes.
It's been 4 minutes and 15 seconds. I have my mental clock going.
Oh, do I have a spoon around here? Ian, do I have a spoon somewhere?
It needs a spoon.
Okay, this is pretty much good to go. So, polymorphic plastic. Again, what I'm going to be working on, just demonstrating it more than anything else. Another thing about polymorphic plastic is you can add color to it. And what you would do with that, it also comes in like little beads. that you would pour into this as you're molding it, folding it in on itself. It's made out of a different type of plastic, but it adds color. The more you mold it, the more you add, the more colorful you get. So what I would do, if I wanted
Let's make a brush stand.
yeah, we can do a brush stand. Well, we can do like a wall hanging brush stand. So
I'm traveling with my travel brush, and I said, darn it, I forgot a stand for this. I need a stand.
oh, you want to do that type of stand? I was thinking something you could. I don't have enough to really do a brush stand, but I
That's
could do
not
a brush.
acceptable.
I could do a brush mount type thing. Put a screw hole in there and screw to the wall that would hold a brush or a razor. But yeah, so you only have so much time to mold this stuff. It gets stiffer and stiffer. It's harder and harder, and especially if you find a shape that you want, run it under cold water.
Did you get anything from
But yeah, so
It's all free.
see, I'm molding a basic like razor stand like this. So as I'm doing this, I'm running it under cold water, and
You want some cold water?
I've been seeing a lot of people fooling around with 3D printing online, coming up with all this stuff. And a lot of times what I use for prototypes is this before I take it to the 3D printer. Just basic ideas to get them down. Or I can send this to the guy who's going to do a 3D printer.
Also makes a great toy for the kids.
It does. It's a lot like silly putty. But yes, again, great. It's getting harder now.
We need to zoom in on this. Move our poly plastic out of here.
Polymorphic. So it's little beads of plastic. And this is what I've created here
It's
is
a piece of modern art.
not only that, it's
Fuseli Jerry.
it would be a razor dryer. So the razor would hang across this,
Okay.
or it would be a brush rack.
We need some cold here. I got some cold water. Actually, no colder water than this.
Okay, so make sure it maintains its shape. But you can get really cool shapes out of it too. And if you're really, possess more of an artistic.
This is not working the way I thought it was going to work.
So this is a new invention. Again, it's a razor dryer. It's for leaning your razor over. Just gotta make sure it's shape. It looks like a sea monkey.
It's the thing.
It's the thing. The thing.
Just dunk the whole thing in here.
The Thanos glove.
Yes. So it's now your very own razor brush holder or shaving brush holder.
Razor dryer.
Razor dryer 2000.
Yes.
Gotta market it, baby.
But again, great to have in your kit because anything around the house, you need that one washer, that one piece. Whenever you have this stuff, you can customize it for whatever you're doing.
And I guess you could even make a shaving brush out. You can make a very rudimentary handle and drill a hole and you can very DIY brush.
Yeah, it's really, the possibilities are endless with this stuff. And again, it's much easier alternative to 3D printing. For it's getting harder. And it really has like a nylon feel when it's drying. So there you go. There's my
Wow, Doug, can you sign that for me? I want to take that home.
that.
Yeah.
So there's that. There's Matt's little. He doesn't understand this is a razor holder, but so the razor would lean on it like that, like so. In this case, but another great thing about this is you can heat it up and start working it all over again. Oh, there we go.
Use the marker.
So there you go, something like that. And this will cost you like, I don't know, $15,
$15.
$20 for this.
But you get many different shapes.
And again, you can melt it and use it.
So you can reuse it.
Yeah, again and again. Just really cool stuff. So polymorphic plastic, keep that in mind. I haven't seen anyone else really using this stuff for anything when it comes to shaving. So thank you.
Well, I think we'll do maybe a couple minutes of Q&A, and I think we're gonna call it. Anyone have any burning questions? Burning.
Questions, concerns, suggestions, you.
Not a question, but after watching your bag,
demo. There's actually one on the PIF table. In fact, people are not hitting that PIF table.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Everyone
they don't
runs.
realize
Everyone
it's-
hit
This is
the
how you
PIF
kill our
table.
audience, Ken.
Yeah, it's free.
Take stuff from the PIF table, please. Ken doesn't want to take it all back
Ken might have
home.
dropped that off there. Is that what you're saying?
What was that?
Nothing. Also, guys, I do have sample papers. If you want to try the Faberge wood hue, it's right here. You can spray some on too, but just something you want to keep during the day, just to experience the dry down. It's really, again, a great scent. I mean, Dean Martin.
Need we say more, Dean Mark? Any other burning questions? What's up?
Does this mean I'd Lather Be Shaving is officially back?
Today it is.
Just for
Get
today?
the band back
We're getting the
together.
band back together. We'll see what happens. We're both busy people.
So busy.
But yeah, we are trying to get the show back together. I
That'd be
definitely
fun.
a whole slew of. In fact, a lot of stuff you're seeing here today we'll probably put into a real show at some point. Probably before the year's up.
Okay?
Yeah.
I
So
have
there's
a
that.
comment.
Yes. Comment.
As the owner of the store
Yes.
and trying the different razors, let me tell you ladies, shaving your legs is no longer a nick fest.
Ah, she's saying that shaving your legs with a double-edged razor is no longer a nick fest for ladies.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah, it really is.
Okay.
And that says a lot because she's covering more surface area than we are. So
Right. So if you haven't tried it, try it.
yes. And I think we are done.
I think that's it. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, for your attention. Hope you enjoyed our impromptu at Lather Be Shaving.
Thank you, viewers at home. Thank you. You're saying great job. Cheers, guys. Thank you. Plus,
Yeah, I brought mine today. I bring mine in case any of the alum will, because you never know, but they are handy to bring,
And this one, here's leather. And this one, I'll just tell you. I don't put them
Great.
All right, last chance to get some raffle tickets before we do it. We got a lot of gifts over there. Got a lot of prizes.
shaving blind,
I'll give it like 2 more minutes, and then we're gonna do the.
I actually have a book that sticks in the machine.
Did you bring that with you on
$1
your?
each.
Yes, very nice.
So I was like, never again.
We do need a
But there's
It's really just
these are the right out.
yeah, you can put it right here.
How many do you want?
And that's just the top though. The first one. I'm gonna do it again. Oh, I would do it again.
Yeah.
These are not your lottery odds. These are very good odds. You get very great.
And you get it in different colors too. I thought I was getting yellow, but turns out this was orange. Which is the Dean Where? Well, so here's a cigarette.
Did you smell the Dean Martin?
Yeah, it smells really good.
What?
It's got alcohol.
Hello everybody. I thought I'd better introduce myself. I'm Diane. I'm the owner of the store. We opened in 2006 as an impulse, and we have won 24 national awards and 1 international award for visual merchandising. So this little tiny hidden spot here in Huntington Beach is quite famous nationally and internationally too. And so I hope you're enjoying everything you see, because the kind of gifts you won't find anywhere else, really. Not at these prices anyway. So welcome everybody. I'm so glad everyone came to experience Absolutely Fabulous and our wonderful, the shave products. I mean, I'm not a man, but I tell you, I can shave my legs, and it is good. So, thank you guys for coming.
Thanks for having us.
Much. And remember, we're here when you need a gift. Thank